Let's see. Are we live? Are we rocking? Are we rolling? Sweet. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Explain It. My name is CarolineCain. Ingryd will be here in a little bit. She had to do some stuff. She actually had a few deals. I was talking to her yesterday. She was locking up down in Florence, and she'll be hopping on here when she's done with those calls. We like take turns locking up deals in between the two of us. So if you guys are on Instagram or if you're on YouTube, we're live on YouTube. I'll answer your questions on YouTube. But today we are going to be talking about Airbnbs with the Airbnb king, Noah Hoffman. I'm going to pull him up here in a minute once he's got stable internet. I see you in the background there, Noah, in the backstage. But guys, welcome to another episode. This is completely free. Every week we try and bring on a bunch of guests that are really helpful and awesome. We actually had some people in here that talked about affordable housing. We've talked about assisted living, anything and everything. This is a really cool podcast because we want to make sure that everybody has the tools we didn't have when we got started investing and trying to better our lives and include everybody. Hello, there you are. I was just saying you were busy doing stuff. So here's my lovely co-host, Ingryd Hernandez. How's it going?
Good. It was easier to come to the Keighley office than it was to go home. Wow. So I was coming from like Central Phoenix, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. Who do I know that's like near Phoenix? And I was like, Keighley. I should just go to Keighley. So anyway. Perfect.
Well, I was just setting the stage for what we're going to cover today. So I want to just say for everybody, I'm glad Ingryd was able to make it. Sometimes I bounce out and I have to make calls. You would not believe if I opened up my call log to you today, I've probably been on the phone for 4 hours today between attorneys, closing on a deal that Pace is going to be buying, talking to the transaction coordinators, talking to the seller, talking to the lender, talking to everybody else. So I didn't have all these things, and you learn a lot from experiencing it. And the whole point of this podcast is to make everything affordable and free. So again, everybody, hi on Instagram Live. This is free. So the one thing I'm going to ask you guys, we don't make any money off of this. Our goal is to just try and continue bringing you guys a ton of value. And one of the things I was going to bring up, Ingryd, I don't know if you have it in your link tree. I need to still connect with, I think it's Joel from EQRP. But guys, Ingryd has gone above and beyond and got some super sick people to come on here and talk about stuff. All we ask is if you guys could click the like button on this video on YouTube and then maybe share this with a few people you think could get some value. The crazy thing is, and Ingryd, feel free to chime in here in a moment. The crazy thing is our market has changed so much. I just started investing in 2020. You've been in the game, or at least a homeowner, since the 2008 crash when everything kind of went down. You've had to go through the short sale process. You've seen how things have changed. I've only known a super hot market back in 2020, or I guess it was kind of everybody was scared and Airbnb was not doing well. And then we knew a really hot market where interest rates were low. Everybody, we had stimulus checks. People were going on vacations, and we've seen Airbnb skyrocket. And I'm curious to find out how Noah's doing with everything today. Is there anything you'd like to chime in before we bring Noah on stage, Ingryd?
Well, I will say Arizona is one of the most impacted markets in terms of short term. But I would say there's still a lot of markets making banging money on short-term rental. So I was on Wholesale Hotline, I don't know, 2 or 3 months ago for a little piece of the segment, right? Yeah. And we used to have what I think when it's a hot market across the country, we have like a national market going on. So it doesn't matter where you buy, you can't lose. Okay, that was that comet that was hot and heavy for a good year. But now we're back to what is a more normalized market, although not completely normalized. There are some hot and heavy areas like Miami and some tangent coastal cities, in my opinion, that are still super hot, or even like Boise. I thought Boise would blow over by now, but it still hasn't. Your market is super localized now. So you're going to see variability on how things perform. And so it's important for you to become experts in your market. What are the trends? Are people getting laid off? Like can the population support where you're investing? These are things where I feel now we're going to go back to needing to have the skills to invest and do real estate. Whereas, a year or so ago, or more than a year or so ago, you could throw a dart wherever you were going to buy and you're deal. Just fine. Now we're not in that market anymore. Now you need to put some effort and intelligence. So with Noah, him, having so many properties spread across the United States is why we called him the Airbnb king for so long.
Mhm.
But what's beautiful about him, right? Just like we're telling you right now, you have to pivot and you have to know your skill sets. What we're seeing transpire with Noah is that he's now pivoting into getting into bigger deals and
Mhm.
raising capital. And what does that look like? So I'm excited to have Noah on the podcast today to kind of give us that's that next level evolution that a lot of us are hoping to get to at some point. I mean, I know you and I talk a lot about, hey, invest with us. There's certain things that like you start saying differently, especially when you're raising capital for like multi-family. Like you don't say private money lender, otherwise they know you came from the single family space. You say private equity partner or equity partner or investor. You use that term more in terms of multifamily. So I'd love to see how Noah is starting to get into that space and what that experience is like.
Well, let's bring him up here. And the one last thing I want to say, guys, I know some of us are on Instagram Live, on mine and on Ingryd's. Ask your questions. Come to YouTube so we can answer your questions. We will do a Q&A segment. This is a great opportunity. Noah's carved some time out for us. I'm really excited. So if you have questions, come over to YouTube, ask them in the side chat. We will get them addressed. And if we don't get anything addressed, we'll answer them later on Instagram. And with that being said, let's pull the man up here. We got a puppy with us. What's going on, my man?
Hey, guys.
Where are you right now?
I'm actually, I had to take my daughter to an orthodontist appointment to get her teeth checked out. And I have my dog. So it's a really busy day today. But like this was obviously number one priority. And I'm super excited to be here. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much for coming on, Ingryd. Thank you for setting this up for everybody so we can hear more about you. I want to kind of get started just so everybody can kind of know who you are, Noah. Who are you, and then how did you get into Airbnb?
Well, I'm just a kid from the street. No, I'm just kidding. That's what Jay-Z started, one of his responses one time. So no, I've been managing Airbnbs continuously since for 11 years now. So June 2012 was my first listing, and been just managing more and more units since then. It was the first one was for my mentor, like my first real estate mentor. And he just had a studio. What should we do with it? Boom. I said, let's furnish it, put it on Airbnb. Let me manage it for you and make like a percentage. And then that one just went surprisingly well. It was in Berkeley, California. And people just, I put the pictures online and people just started like booking, and they just never stopped coming. It was like opening a 7-Eleven. Because Airbnb is the brand that people look for. And since then, every year people will say, wow, Airbnb is really getting big now. And it really got big. And I noticed, I think it was summer of 2022. I think I noticed a slowdown in a lot of places. And it had to do with, I think, interest rates going up. It was like all this economic activity. It wasn't even COVID. Like COVID, we had like a bunch of cancellations, but then it started to pick up again, like different traveling workers. But like kind of like another slowdown. Summer of last year. And so, and then about 5 or 6 years in, I learned how to start buying properties with conventional loans. So with conventional loans, like I bought my first duplex in 2017, and then a year later I bought another property. A year later, another property, and I started building ADUs. And then so that was in Fresno.
What is an ADU? Just for everybody who's new, what does an ADU stand for?
An accessory dwelling unit. Some people might call it additional or something, but accessory dwelling unit. It's like what I would do is convert the garage, like a detached garage, into another unit, another little studio apartment, and make a really good return on investment because you already have the land in that case.
Love that.
And
That's really cool because I know Ingrid and I know this here in Phoenix that everybody just got approved to build their own little casita. So I know a lot of people, because it's such a high demand here, everybody's going to be able to add on their in-law suite in the back. So that's a really good opportunity. Do you have any of your ADUs? Are you turning those into Airbnbs?
All of them. Yeah. I mean, I have, we have about, maybe 5 or so.
Yeah.
And me and Munif built one. I had one built for Pace also at one of his properties. I just, converted the, let's see here. It's here. Sorry. So sometimes we'll convert a garage also into a secondary unit. Right. And
yeah, we're actually working on a deal in Fresno, myself and Noah. I'm his private money lender on it. And that one has a potential for being a 4-2 inside the house. And then it has a 2-car garage. And so Noah's like, we'll just convert that into an ADU. And I was like, that's fantastic. So with so much upside potential, it was a no-brainer for me to invest in. But obviously Noah has gone through this transformation. Again, he was the Airbnb king. He partners with 25 plus people on properties, which was crazy. And it's evolved to this capital raising, these bigger opportunities. I do see there was 2 other people that we put on this thumbnail that were going to join us, because we're going to talk about the next evolution of what Noah's starting to focus on. And that's capital raising, right? So I'm going to bring on Munif. It doesn't look like Tracy's connected, but hey, Munif.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
What's going on, Munif?
What is up? How are you?
Great. So wait.
Today.
How do they do it in the closers Olympics? So is that silver? You got silver 2 years in a row, right?
Yeah, I got silver. I got the silver medal 2 years in a row. So that's second place.
That's freaking fantastic. That's so cool. Obviously, Munif's going through his own evolution where he was, IT guy, kind of introverted, and now he's like super sales dude. I mean, to get silver in such a high octane pressured situation like Closers Olympic is pretty amazing. So congrats to you, Munif.
Thank you so much. And I'm really honored to be a part of this podcast. You guys, I'm really a big fan of you guys. You guys have been really killing it in the podcast space. I actually sometimes tune in. I check you guys out. I see you guys all over social media. So it's really an honor for me to be here. Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, thank you.
Munif, I'm so glad you're back. You guys don't know this, but Munif and I first started podcasting together a little over a year ago. So now Munif and I do stuff all the time. I get to see you all the time, and I'm so glad that you're on here. Munif, just so everybody, because I've been telling everybody it was mainly Noah. Who are you? So you were on the Closers Olympics. For those of you that don't know, it's an opportunity inside the real estate world to just flex your muscles, that you know how to close deals and how to get them under contract. Ingrid kind of touched on this for a moment. There's been such a change when cash was easy to get, like it was cheap, you could buy a deal and you're good to go. Now finding deals that actually cash flow long-term is pretty hard, and being successful at locking things up and solving problems for people, that's where people really struggle. Because some people lock up a house at the Zillow price when it needs, $60,000 worth of work. That's no skill. Munif knows how to talk to people and figure out what's important to them and get them locked up. So Munif, just a quick intro for you. Who are you, and how did you end up meeting Noah?
So my name is Munif Saza. I actually, Caroline, you're like one of the first people I met in the Sub2 community. You host the Daily Dial every single day. So I started attending that every single day for 2 hours a day to role play and practice my seller calls. And you were really, really good. And you still are really, really good at helping new students like me. Back in 2021, in March, I was a new student, didn't know how to talk to sellers. You're very encouraging. So you helped encourage me. I remember on my first role play, I was so scared and nervous. I hung up the role play, the phone. And I couldn't. It's like one of Pacey's favorite stories is like, I get on the role play and I'm so scared and so intimidated by 70, 80 people watching on the Zoom that I just hung up the call. But you helped me, Caroline. You helped me take notes. Don Rich. Oh man, I'm actually in Dallas right now, so I gotta see Don before I leave Dallas on Friday. So Don, I'm gonna see you before we leave.
He's coming here after that. Ingryd, he's coming to Phoenix at the end.
Oh really?
You
awesome.
are. You're coming to Phoenix.
Oh, no. I'm flying. Yeah. We're flying to Phoenix on Tuesday.
I know his schedule better than Munif does. Munif is coming here.
Nobody has to worry about it. Yeah.
I want to see Caroline, and I want to introduce you gals to baby Lila. Yeah, she's coming with us.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we did the role play. I failed horribly at the role play, but thanks to Caroline's guidance and the other sub 2 leaders, I got better and better and better until 6 months later, I find myself on this competition called the Closers Olympics, where it's a straightforward competition. You get a phone and you get phone numbers and you got to get a contract. That's it. So you're cold calling leads and you're saying, hey, I see that you filled out a web form. You filled out some information. It seems like you want to sell your house, and they'd start talking, and you get points for how well you negotiate, how well you find their true motivation, how well you find pain points that they're dealing with, how well you can paint the picture, and how well you structure creative terms, and how well you get an agreement, a verbal commitment, and finally how well you actually close the deal out and get a signed contract. So I did that competition 2 years, won second place out of I think like a dozen competitors, 1 second. And these guys are the best in the country. These guys are really the cream of the crop. So they don't just let anybody participate. They vet these people. They do, internal competitions with them to make sure they're really high standard people. A lot of these people have sales courses and they're gurus themselves. I came in second both years. So then after that, I met with Noah. We started hanging out. I've always wanted to own Airbnbs. So Noah and I start buying properties together where he manages the assets, he puts them on Airbnb, he handles a lot of that back end, he underwrites. I come in, I find the deals using my closing abilities. I can close deals with wholesalers or sellers. I also find the money. So I was really good at raising private money for our partnership. And we started buying a lot of real estate until we met Tracy and Truman, who go, you guys are doing it all wrong. You guys need to do multifamily. Let's do bigger deals. And so Tracy, oh, there she is. Tracy.
Hi, everyone. So
what's going on?
So we got a full party today. We've never had 5 people on. Actually, we've never had 4. Yes, we have Angie and Dom, but this is the first time we've had a 5er.
Wow.
So this is exciting. This is new. So welcome, Tracy. I don't know if we've spoken. I can't recall, but excited. So you're telling these boys your dreams ain't big enough. It's time to come to multifamily. Is that what I'm hearing?
Exactly, because this is how it started, right? So Tracy finds out Noah and I are coming to Dallas for some meetup, and she goes, "Stay at my Airbnb." And Noah goes, "No way, I don't do that. I don't like to stay at people's Airbnbs because, I don't let people stay at mine. This is a business and people just can't stay at my Airbnbs." And I go, "Noah, she invited us. We can't say no. We got to stay at her Airbnb." So we meet Tracy, never met her before, never talked to her before. We meet her and she is the sweetest person. She's a licensed agent in Texas.
Licensed agent.
Yes,
okay.
Licensed
Sometimes
agent.
I hear Asian.
She is Asian. Tracy and I are both Asian. We're also both licensed Asians. She's a licensed real estate agent, and she has over 20 years of real estate experience doing commercial, multifamily, you name it. And I remember, she hosted us. She had the nicest house, the nicest Airbnb. It was such a good hostess, so warm and welcoming. Noah and I are like, who are you? What, like this? You're so nice. And she finds out that we actually had a flip going on. We go to the flip. She goes, no, this is being done all wrong. And it was. The person who was doing the flip for us was just, I mean, we were sinking money and time into it and they were not making progress. So she gets her partner, Truman, that does their flips together. Truman looks at the house and goes, I'll fix everything. I'll do it at cost. We write him a check. He fixes the entire house. Noah and I turn around and sell that house for $100,000 profit. So we made, that was my first 6-figure triple-digit flip. It was like $101,000. It was awesome. Tracy then goes, hey, before you leave Dallas, I found a deal. It's a 5-plex. We got to start getting you guys in a multifamily. We need to negotiate this 5-plex. So I call the seller. He's got showings on Saturday. I convince him to sign with me that day. I say, look, I'm ready. I'll send you $7,500 earnest money. I'll wire it to your LLC today. I won't even go to title. It's here. I'll go straight to your LLC, sign the contract. I'm legit. If I get on this flight, I'm not buying your house. I'm not coming Saturday. And he sold the house to me $50,000 under what he was getting offers on because I was serious. And I also did the pull away. If I get on this plane, you're never hearing from me.
Yeah, you did the hot girl status.
I did the hot girl status. And we signed that deal. We partnered with Pace on that deal. Pace funds the entry fee of that, which is $130,000. Tracy, Noah, Truman flipped that. We've got 5 Airbnbs in Dallas right here that are performing. They're amazing. They're completely phenomenal. I mean, they do such a good job. And so we took that strategy and we're like, okay, we got something here. We got Noah, Munif, Truman, Tracy, and Pace. Pace is like the best promoter. Pace is also our PML in that deal. So we wanted to bring him on the next deal. And so we said, hey, why don't we do something fantastic? And so same recipe. Tracy finds a deal. She asks me to negotiate with the seller. This deal is bigger than anything else we've done before. It's 22 houses on a lot, 22 small houses. They're anywhere between 700 to 1,100 square feet each house, 1 to 2 bedrooms, tiny, tiny homes on a lot. And we got the deal. We bought all 22 houses for $650,000. We negotiated the deal, got it under contract, and raised money to buy it and start developing it. And Pace is a partner with us. It's me, Pace, Noah, Tracy, Truman. The 5 of us are the general partners. We have a lot of limited partners, LPs. We've got guys like Tech, Chang, and Wes, and some of the other heavy hitters in the group also are partners. Yeah.
So before we continue, so part of this podcast is to kind of break down some of the language and some of the things that are used, right? So can we go real quick on what GP stands for, general partner, and what an LP stands for, limited partner? Like, what in general does that mean? We like to get some explanations, some definitions around this. And so could you tell us what that means?
General partner just means they're in charge of doing the work on the project, and limited partner means they're not responsible for the work. They bring the funding. That's as simple as I can break it down. So general partner, they do the work. Limited partner, bring the money.
The money people.
Yeah, they're the money people, and they're all partners. Everyone's partners, so everyone has shares. Everyone has, in these syndications, everyone owns the real estate. So they just break up, like, because not everyone can make decisions. If we needed 50 signatures to paint a wall blue, we would never get anything done. So we break it up. You have general partners, they do the work, they make the decisions. Like, for example, the color of the walls, Tracy decides that. I don't decide that. Noah doesn't decide that. Tracy decides that. She's done a killer job at all the artistic decisions she's made on the project so far. So general partners do the work, make the decisions. Limited partners bring the funding.
Okay, so I like to think about limited partner being super passive, like sleeping money, right? The money is growing. Your soldiers are out at war, making you more money without you having to do anything. Where a GP is somebody who's actively making decisions on the asset, correct?
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Cool. So Tracy, you got these boys a pretty heavy opportunity, or what is this latest opportunity that Noah wanted to be on here to talk through sort of what this new opportunity was about? Maybe if you can enlighten us a little bit about what is this new raise and how people should hear about it.
So we cannot talk about terms. We can't talk about how much money we're raising or, what the terms are for the project.
So Monif, why can't you talk about terms? Let's educate the audience.
The reason we cannot talk about terms is because in the past history of this country, people have they've violated, ethics. They've done unethical things by raising money for shams. They've violated. They've taken advantage of people who were not seasoned investors, who were not accredited investors, and they would just raise money from, let's say, like mom and pops, and they would say, I got this great opportunity, buy shares in my opportunity to sell securities, and people would be duped. And so what the government has done is said, hey, look, we're SEC. I don't know what it stands for, but it's the SEC. It's I think it's the Securities something.
Exchange Commission.
Securities Exchange Commission. They say, okay, can't sell securities or shares or raise money to non-accredited investors. If you want to do things with accredited investors, here's how to do it. But for non-accredited investors, you can't. Until they've come up with something called a Reg CF, Regulation Crowdfund, Reg CF, which is a crowdfund, which you can have non-accredited investors participate in the offerings. So that is the new legislation or newer legislation where you can have non-accredited investors. Somebody watching YouTube, this YouTube channel can actually participate. Somebody who is not accredited or not friends or family, they can see the advertisements that we make. However, there are rules that come with that. So we have a very specific portal and pamphlet and disclosure document that we made together with our attorneys and the government that we all agreed on, that, hey, here are the terms. And I believe they don't want us as personalities going out there and telling people the terms, because what if somebody says something that's not reflecting on the actual agreed docket that the government and the lawyers and us as a team, outlaid? Because the docket says, hey, here are the terms, here are the risks, buyer beware, here's what's happening. And now if I go out and start talking about the terms and I forget something, or I say something that's not true, it could put a lot of people in trouble. Yeah. So I'm not allowed to talk about the terms. We've already posted, we have the terms of the offering available. I can talk about the project. Is that correct? Noah and Tracy, I can talk about, hey, here's what we're doing. And you can participate, but I can't talk about the terms in which they can participate. They have to actually go see the actual document. Is that right?
And the reason is they want everyone to get the information from the same central location.
That makes sense.
And that location is regulated by the SEC. So we have one website where you can go to, which is caravanfunds.com. So caravanfunds.com, and then you'll see something about click here to invest, and then you'll see information about the project, and then they'll ask a series of questions to vet you as an investor. And they just want everyone to go through the same place to get the same information, not different information, at different places.
So I got to participate in my very first experience in this way. I found out that I was not accredited. I thought I was accredited, and then I found out getting married made things harder for me. So if you're making over a certain limit as a single person, which is above 200,000, or if you have I think it's $1 million in assets or something like that. I don't know all the requirements. You are considered accredited, but when you're married, that number goes up. So you're required to make even more money. So we're just shy of being accredited, unfortunately, but it was cool because generally speaking, if somebody's running a fund really well, you're signing up, you're going to make an appointment. You're going to go through a Zoom webinar experience. They're going to teach you all the things about it. You get to ask all your questions. So is this how you guys are also doing it? People have to sign up. you're having sort of these presentations, maybe you're recording them. Is this the experience somebody who would want to go through this goes through that?
Yeah, pretty much you hit the nail on the head. So, we have Zoom, like, I'm not sure if we can talk about, can we talk about the process, like once they, I mean, you know what? Can I talk about what we've done for
Absolutely.
Let's talk about what you can, because I know a lot of people out here are curious to see if the Airbnbs are being successful. So I want to be mindful of your time too.
Yeah. So we can, I think we can talk about the Airbnbs, and like in the past that we've involved, we've done live Zooms on site, and we have like monthly meetings with our participants who get to see, what we're doing. We do monthly meetings. Everyone, who has questions has access to me, Noah, Tracy, Truman, to ask any questions they want at any time they want. Most people, it's funny, most people just typically, just send the money, and they just want to just go live their life. And
they want to be completely passive.
They want to be completely passive. But it's the investors who want to have their own offerings in the future that are very involved, because they're using this as an opportunity to learn how they can do it. Those guys are the most involved, and it's great because they're the ones with the best ideas too. Like Tech was giving us ideas on, he's like, hey, let's get golf carts. So, we have golf carts on the premises. So our guests can just get in a golf cart or rent a golf cart from us, and they can golf around town.
Oh,
and
that's
it's a very quick. Yeah, it's a very quick golf cart to town to go, and there's all kinds of attractions in that town next to the beach. So they're like, well, let's get golf carts. Someone was like, let's get a shuttle, so people can go out and they can go party, and they don't have to worry about driving home because we'll have a shuttle service. So they're really great ideas that a lot of our the participants are engaging in. And we're really open. Like we're really open to ideas, feedback, and it's a very collaborative community that we're building.
That's fantastic. Very cool. So where is this next project? Let's talk about this next project that you have going on.
It's in Pensacola. It's 15 minutes from the beach.
Party Central. That's where all us Midwesterners went for spring break in high school.
I didn't know that.
That's all the stuff. That's a good area.
That's awesome. It's a great area. It's what we wanted to do. Our goal with this was to keep it affordable for the end users. So we wanted it to be family friendly. The location is incredible. It is going to be a gated community. So, there's just a different level of safety when the entire community is gated, and you got to drive in, they check your ID and stuff like that to let you in. And it's going to be family friendly. So we wanted to be affordable because, the beachfront Airbnbs are just so pricey. I mean, you've got to be at a certain income bracket to even be able to afford to take your family there. Whereas here, we're thinking, we're going to offer, maybe, $100 a night, like really, really cheap prices, because we were able to get a really good deal.
Is this like by room, or is it its own little apartment? So you have multiple rooms in a.
It's every house has between 1 to 2 bedrooms.
Wow, only $100. That's in Pensacola, probably not far from the beach. $100 a night. Yeah.
How many houses?
We have 22. I think we bought 22, but we've remodeled. We've converted like 2 separate houses to one house. So we've done some changes. What's the current amount of houses we have right now?
20.
20?
20 plus an office.
Yeah, 20.
20 plus an office. Okay, because we have on-site management. So it's 20 plus an office.
Wonderful. That's really cool. So if folks are out there and they want to know more about whether or not they qualify, they would go to that website, the invest.caravanfunds.com/offerings, to see whether or not this might be some. And so forgive me, I thought you guys were doing a deal in St. Louis. So this was in Pensacola?
Yeah. St. Louis might be up and coming. So
okay.
We're looking at other opportunities.
Sure.
Once this is a success. So it's
got it.
Like we're planning on slowing down anytime soon.
That's fantastic. So if somebody joins your fund, maybe like it says caravan, you'll be caravanning all around the United States and being able to kind of disperse those funds in different places.
That would be the dream.
That's the
ideal.
dream.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So Tracy, tell us, so did you find this deal or who found this deal?
Yeah, first of all, it's not I found the deal, but Munif's the one negotiate with the seller. So we have a little, on and off for the deal. But finally, Munif and using his high technique to negotiations, and then finally we got closing.
Awesome. So how are you? Okay. So how is it broken up? So Munif, you're doing like acquisitions. Tracy's sort of like project management, maybe designer. And then Noah's like the operator.
Pretty much like that. Yeah. So it's right now, either me or Noah manage the project right now, the construction project, and Munif has been raising the money. So
got it. So his hot girl status continues. So in order to fundraise, I mean, you have to be a little attractive, a little like come and bring me that dough. Okay. That's great. Awesome.
yeah. So we cannot wait until the project has been finished. So like Munif say, the areas that we have like a courtyards in the middle, so it's very family friendly. So we're gonna do like something like children playgrounds or barbecue set, peach, and like the area that people can get out, because the house is it's very affordable space. So that's mean, and they need like going out for enjoy the outdoor. That's why we create more amenity for the property.
Okay. I'm going to actually ask one question before we ask Andrea's question. So so I have heard this before, right? Where if you price it too low, you might attract the wrong kind of tenant. So do you guys have any concern about that? Like where
we'll use dynamic pricing, so prices will fluctuate, but like depending on the season, right? But and so there's definitely like a high season, peak season, like June, July is like the top, and then it slowly goes down. It hits February is like the bottom, and it starts going back up. I think it's pretty much.
And let me be clear. Some Airbnbs, and I've been a victim to this, where I've acquired an Airbnb where I need the price to be at $500 a night for me to be profitable. Less than $500 a night, I'm losing money. I've been there. So at $100 a night, what I meant is we're profitable at $100 a night. We make money at 100. So we can go that low and be fine. So now as far as tenants, we've got the best in the business. We've got Noah, we've got Tracy. There's ways to verify the quality of tenant through Airbnb. There's verification, there's reviews. So we're not just going to this is a family oriented place. We're not going to let anybody just come in here. I mean, we're going to be looking at driver's licenses when they come in the gate. And we're very, strict on, the kind of people we want to have booking these places.
Yeah, that's a good point. So kind of like what Rob mentioned. So you want to have additional screening, and because you have that extra point of security, it'll be tougher to break the rules because you have that added, eyes on who's coming through. So that's fantastic. Because I've ran my own short-term rental. There was only one group that went through who literally told my neighbor that they're going to have a party, and I was like, but they forgot to tell me that. So I was so upset. And then I had to quickly push them out. So yeah, that's great that you guys have that extra level of certainty.
Yeah, can I add some more information on it?
Yeah.
Actually, like before, of course, like Noah will manage that, and then we have the very strict descriptions for we can vet very careful for the tenant. For the guests, like they want to book the place, And also additional that we have the manager on site. Whoever the guest check-ins, and they have to show their IDs, and they have to, verify how many people they're gonna be occupied on the property. So that's how the second vet the guests. And we of course we won't allow for like parties or any ones, like if we have limit for how many people per house, so they have to be committed. If any other than that, then they have to pay the penalty for.
Right on. That's very good.
Mhm.
So Andrea Chin says she's looking at the site now. Is there a deadline for you guys to accept investors?
I don't think we can answer that because I think that comes in the terms. So
okay.
I think that's part of terms. So we can't answer that. All the information pertinent to any terms is on the site. So I would go there. And then once, yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Go to the site.
I mean, the good news is the bar is really low. It's really affordable. Anyone can invest with us. They do not have to be an accredited investor. And then they're going to be with us along this whole journey. And then they're going to have options to possibly invest in other projects in the future and kind of see, follow us with our evolution also.
That's super dope. So because it's a Reg CF, which by the way, so let's back up a little. I recall Pace saying for him to do his Reg CF was super expensive, took a lot of time. So is this what you guys did, or you kind of
cost us a lot of money? Cost us a lot of money, and we started this process a year ago.
A year ago. Wow. So for those out there in the audience, if you've ever heard of the term fund of funds, or if you've heard of fundraisers like syndications, things like that. So this feeds into that model where how you can raise money, what you can say publicly. It's highly scrutinized. So I understand Munif's hesitation to maybe say a few things. But obviously they're accepting investors. That we can say, like, hey, if you're curious, go to the website, and in the website, you'll have more information. And like we were mentioning before, you'll go through a screening process, just like, it's been a long time since I was rejected, but I was rejected because I wasn't an accredited investor. I thought I was super close, but it was really helpful to go through that process. I mean, I feel bad that I feel like I maybe wasted somebody's time. But how does somebody know if they're an accredited investor? Can we talk about that, like in generalities, not related to this project?
I think, I've heard so many different things. I think you have to have, like, excluding your primary home, you have to have like $1 million in assets. You have to make a certain amount of money every year. I think it's like $250,000. I don't have, now don't quote me, not an attorney. You can find this.
Go to the attorney, ask the attorney. They're the expert. I'm going to jump in. Taking us out of here.
Google has
no, I will tell you this, because I actually went and I talked to my CPA about this, right?
Yeah.
A lot of CPAs are actually reluctant to give you that accredited investor status. They don't want to. There are companies who are out there who will service identifying you as an accredited investor. Again, I didn't know this. I learned this by trying to sign up for something. I found out
by taking action. You learn this by taking action. And I think that's a huge thing for everybody to take away from this episode, not only from you talking to your CPA. Munif got success by focusing on one thing and taking action, and that you learned that from reaching out and taking action. I know you have more to say, but I want to dig in while you're there. Everybody, if you're new and you're trying to get started, you've got to go learn by doing. Don't just absorb the content on this podcast or a book. So I want to let you finish that thought before I jump in with my questions, Ingrid.
Yeah. So know that your CPA might be reluctant to accredit you. There are services out there that will do it. He did mention, and this is my CPA, so I'm quoting him, because it can be subjective. Like when you come up with an ARV, it might be different than the ARV I come up with, right? The aftermarket repair value on a property. The same thing happens with accredited investors. So let's, like, for example, I'm about to close on our 10th property this month or this week. Okay, those properties, you have to evaluate what's your debt minus what they're worth in their as-is value, and then that equity the equity you have in those properties all have to equal to at least $1 million. Now, CPAs, are they in the game of figuring out how much houses are worth? No. So that's why that's a part of the equation of why they're reluctant to give you. But generally, if you have a good CPA, one that does focus on real estate, they can sign those letters for you to say whether you're accredited or not. Now, this fundraise, though, again, it took a whole year for them to get that Reg CF approval. And it's because they can accept money from most people. There is still some ceilings though, right? Like it can't be more than somebody can't invest more than 10% of what they make or something like that. Like what are some of the Reg CF requirements?
Those are some of them, but you would have to go to the portal to get that exact information. But it's a percentage of their income. Exactly. Like if they make below or above 124,000, things like that, you just have to check it on the portal.
Cool. Good to know. And then Tracy, did you want to add anything? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Tracy. You got anything else you can add? Oh, hang on. You got to unmute. 1 sec. There you go.
I'm sorry.
There's some background noise a little bit ago. I muted you.
Munif and Noah has been cover all of those details. So if anyone have the questions, so we can, and
I love it. Delegate. Hand it to the boys. Let them answer. That's the way to go. I was just going to chime in. Delegating. Munif said to us in the backstage, she's like, thank you so much. I have a meeting. So I'm so glad that Munif got to come on here. So Tracy, we only have 14 minutes left with you guys. I know Noah's got to pick his daughter up from, you can see him getting everything set up to pick his daughter up from the orthodontist. And there's been a lot of questions in here about Airbnbs. So Tracy, since I have you right now, I'm going to rapid fire some questions. And everybody else, if you're on Instagram Live, if you're in here, throw your questions in the side chat so we can hit them. But Tracy, you kind of make sure everything's up to date on these properties. They're good to go. They're functional. They're cute. That's you, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
How long have you been involved with Airbnbs, would you say?
Actually, the Airbnb, so I just involved within about more than 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, it's my specialty is on fix and flip, buy and hold.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So pretty much before I met Noah and Munif, and I've been doing a tons of fix and flip, and I do the commercial and residential as well. So that's why it's come up to this property. And I'm so excited because it's related to the construction work, because I have a great teams they can do renovations, they can do fix and flip with, very affordable price. And that's how we partner up with Noah and Munif. They both just like my brother. So that's why we work like a family teamwork. And
you guys fight like one too, because I fight my brother on occasion.
So okay. We respect each other works, and we know that which part and which section that each one have the responsibility for. So that's why we end up and working like a huge and big team right now.
I love that. Well, it makes me think. Go ahead. Do you have something else you can add there?
No, I mean it's and also it's the meantime too, and I have a big project and going on and working like an RV park.
Oh, because Ingryd started this out and she said that Noah started smaller and then you got to bigger deals. And what we've heard is once you have systems in place, it's just what you're doing on a smaller scale works for the bigger scale. So was it difficult for you to transfer from doing single family, smaller things over into doing larger projects like this?
A little bit complicated, but along the way, so we fix the problem. We learn along the way too. But it's I'm in this business for long enough, and then I know that here and there's things, and but this project is 22 house, and then it's not like different area, but they all like a one locations. So it's making it more very easy for me to manage the process. Yeah.
Ooh, that makes a lot of sense. So I want to transfer this question over to Noah. You're able to it's not letting me unmute you. There you go. Perfect. So there's been questions about Airbnbs. I've talked to you before about this. Do you guys hire outside people to manage your Airbnbs, or is that all in-house with your own team?
So I have my own team, and we manage Airbnbs in about 10 states.
Okay.
and we manage. So I'm an owner or a partner in maybe about a third of the properties that I manage,
Okay.
and the other, maybe 2/3 or 60% are owned by other people. And I'm very selective, though. I don't just manage any property for anyone, because we want to make sure this person is ready to understand what owning real estate entails. I always ask people. A lot of people hit me up and like, hey, I got a property out of town, out of state. I never seen it before. Can you manage it for me? And I'm like, well, how old is the AC? I don't know. If they, it's like, okay, well, if it's, they go out, if it's 25 years old, you might need to have $10,000 ready to replace that AC. Things like that. It's better to do some of that stuff before you put it live on Airbnb. So, I'm trying to do, trying to help front load a lot of that stuff, so people, new investors, are ready for what they're getting themselves into.
I love that. That's a really good nugget. And this is actually one I saw like at the very beginning of the podcast. Paul Raw asked, he just said, thank you so much for this. We wish we were getting the bookings we were a year ago. So really in here for the nuggets. So Noah, I know you've talked about this. Location's pretty key. I'm guessing you don't have any Airbnbs in the middle of nowhere, Alabama, where there's one barn and no stoplights. How do you decide which markets you want to do Airbnbs? And next question is, how have you been able to adapt during this recession, this silent recession that we're experiencing?
Well, those are great questions. And so one thing that I would do real quick is, if you can go to Airbnb.com and you type in any address, and then you type in an address to search it, and you'll see a dot on the map. And they didn't used to have this a few years ago, but you'll see actually like the pin drop. And then what I would do is I would look how many other Airbnbs are within about a 1, 2, 3, or 5 mile radius. Really, like the closer the better. And what I do is I count the reviews. Like if you see like 10 properties, and all of them say new, that means basically it's not a comp. You want to find properties that have 100, 200, 300 reviews. And if I see like 1,000 reviews within a few miles or less, then that means there's strong demand in that area at least. And then you can drill down into bedroom count and look at the pictures to see if they look what the competition is.
That's a little nugget right there. So for free 99, just go to Airbnb, look up the address, see what's around there, and see if there's a cumulative of at least 1,000 reviews. That's
right.
me.
So I was telling Ingryd about a property I was looking at in St. Louis, and there was 2,500 reviews on the same block, for example.
Wow.
So that tells you there's a lot of demand in that neighborhood.
Really, St. Louis? How far is it from the Arch? I mean, why would you want to?
Not too far from the Arch.
That's probably why.
So I'm looking for this. It's a half a block from the Cardinal Stadium, St. Louis Cardinals, and downtown, across the street from a law school. And so I'm out hunting for the what I call the next Fresno. Basically like Fresno prices, 10 years ago. You can buy houses for $150,000, $200,000. And
I've heard there's a lot of people that are investing in, just for everybody, just a little nugget. I talked to Benson, the creator of Privy, and he's doing a lot of investing in St. Louis. So maybe St. Louis is, I always drove through St. Louis to see family, and it was just, whatever, but maybe that's a good area to invest in.
Well, it's like, Scottsdale is a great area, but it's saturated right now, right, with Airbnb. So we're looking for just that, the place where you can cash flow a little better than normal, right? Like, like traditionally, like very high demand locations, you don't cash flow, like you negative cash flow. Like in San Francisco, you buy a house 20% down, you negative cash flow 10 years until your appreciation catches up, and your mortgage pay down and stuff. So we're looking for places where you can actually cash flow positive, and Airbnb is just like a little bit of a boost to help it make a little bit more. And so, St. Louis isn't like, I haven't declared, war in St. Louis yet, but I'm close, with a couple partners. We're buying our first property there this week, a fourplex, and we're going to see how it goes.
What? So it says not for STRs. They just banned them in St. Louis, Missouri. So did they ban them?
No, I think it depends on the county, the city. No, I haven't read that. No, I haven't read about. I just stayed in the Airbnb there 2 weeks ago. But and the thing is about laws is you got to really get the details, because just like in Dallas, they announced a ban in single family zoning, but ours is a 5-unit. And then a lot of times the new laws might take 2 years to take place. So I always look at STR law, like short-term rentals, Airbnbs, like Cinderella's glass slipper. It's never going to be good forever. You get the money, get it while the getting's good, and then you move on somewhere else, and then that property turns into a long-term rental at some point.
That's why it's important for it to pencil out as a long-term rental first, right? I love this. So, okay. So, Caraneja Jade, maybe, or Jade Caraneja or Carena. I don't know. I'm sorry for
Carena,
yeah. I would say you can't use the terminology to say if it's banned, but you can have a license. So, for example, in Scottsdale, it's not banned. You do need a license and you have to get approval from the city, but it's not banned. It's just more regulated. So maybe St. Louis is becoming more regulated where you have to have a license, but I wouldn't call that being a ban. So,
okay. So I want to go back into this because I know off of Paul's comment, what has been different in the last year? How are you still being successful with your Airbnbs and keeping them rented out? Because I know there are some vacancies, and I know some people just aren't able to travel as much as they were before.
Right. So, I can't make an Airbnb perform if it's not performing. All I can do is lower the price and improve everything about the property.
So what does that mean? You mean when you say improve it? I know when Airbnb started, like you talked about one of the first ones that you listed, you just said, let's throw some furniture in there and see what happens. And that was at the very, very beginning of Airbnb. You really weren't creative. It was just somewhere for people to sleep. Now, when you say you have to make it better, are you saying like add pool tables in, see if there's a pool, make it an experience, or what's the difference between now and a year ago?
Well, for sure, make it an experience, but also it depends on the level of property. Like, not all properties has space for a pool table or can afford the Airbnb rate has to support the investment. So you have to know, is this a Ritz-Carlton or is this a Motel 8, Motel 6, Holiday Inn, Hilton? So it really depends on the property and what people are there. Most people are traveling for the location, and they want it to be clean and functional. And, the photographs need to really stand out. They need to be because if you have professional photographs, then there's a better chance you're going to have a professional environment.
So photos that are on an iPhone that are kind of blurry and it looks like I fell down when I took them wouldn't cut it on the Airbnb website.
Right. No, so lighting, very, very, I'll pay photographers. Obviously, I'll pay for professional. I'll use my own photos and I'll post it just to get a few days extra.
Like a pre-market.
Yeah, pre-market until the professional photos are done. And we also want to have specific photos for Airbnb, like photos showing, that you have an ironing board and an iron and a hair dryer and, body soap, shampoo.
Amenities.
Okay, I'm nervous. Did you leave your truck door open? You left your truck door open.
Yeah, I left the door open.
Okay. Don't you live in the Bay Area? I'm like, somebody's going to steal your truck.
No, it's behind this building.
All right. Okay.
It's all good.
I'm like, does he know that? That's a good crazy story. So okay.
You have a good eye catching, Ingrid.
So I'm worried for Noah. I'm his private money lender. I need to make sure he's me back.
That's a good point.
So Noah, I want to be mindful. I want to be mindful of all of your guys' times. What would be if you could talk to if you were getting started today, Noah, knowing what you know now about Airbnbs and how to be successful, what would be the top 3 tips you'd give yourself?
So if somebody wants to do Airbnb, I would say get a property as quickly as you can, like as possible as you can, because like some people I think people's biggest problem is waiting too long for the home run opportunity when they can get an opportunity over here tomorrow and get started. Like Barbara Corcoran says, rather than getting it right, just get started, just get it going. I think you should just get started, and you're never gonna stop learning. you know you're gonna learn as you go. Like I learned from my very first guest, they wanted a blender, so I brought them a blender. Like you learn every single day. So that the main thing is you get.
Always got that Bay Area Wi-Fi.
No,
Oh, so the main thing that Barbara Cochran said, get started, start learning how to do everything. What was the second thing you said you cut out there? We'll never know. We'll never know.
No, yeah. So the second thing you said, so my
Oh, he's probably walking the dog.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, somebody was war dialing me. My biggest mistake was to do it on the phone. So I learned that lesson. But 4 bedrooms is my favorite house size. 4 bedrooms. I'll take a family room and convert it. I'll spend a few $1,000s to build a wall and a new door and turn like a second family room into a 4th bedroom. So 4 bedrooms. So I like, you like to maximize occupancy. People pay for the amount of people. There's a lot fewer places for big groups. So if you have a big group, they'll pay more. A big family, they're used to paying more for everything.
That makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. Maximize the space that you have. Just get started. Learn through the failure. Go through the experience. And then, Noah, what's the best way to get a hold of you if people want to maybe sell you a deal or lend to you on a deal? Just go to that website that Ingryd had.
No.
What do you think, Tracy?
Call me. Text me first.
You're going to put your phone number out there? What's your phone number?
Yeah, area code 510.
You're crazy.
We're not doing it. Instagram Noah Hoffman Airbnb. That's his Instagram.
Yeah.
As you all know, he's still raising funds for the projects that they have. So check out that website. See what kind of terms you can get. Whether or not you definitely qualify though, because it's a Reg CF. That means anybody can invest in this syndication. You actually have ceilings of how much you can invest because the government wants to make sure that you are protected as the consumer. And that's why there's so many rules. And that's why Munif wasn't able to explain so many things. So check out that website. Obviously, you have very experienced people now with Munif, Mr. Hot Girl, raising money and closing acquisitions. You got Tracy, who's going to make these properties beautiful and ready to go. And then Noah, who come hell or high water, will make sure that they're operating and can do 5 different things at a time, like be on the podcast, be on the phone, and walk his dog. So definitely quite a multifaceted crew.
Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on here. I would love to have you back on here when you have stable internet, Noah and Tracy, so we can kind of see how this Pensacola one pencils out and what it looks like to partner with you. Thank you. Ingryd, is there anything else that you want to say on here?
I just want to say thank you, everybody. Remember that we do this for free. Make sure that you're sharing this if you found value. Caroline and I have a whole bunch of deals in the pipeline, and we're also looking for cash. So if you guys would like to invest with Caroline and I, we're happy to see how we can bring you into those opportunities. Obviously, we believe Noah, Munif, and Tracy are amazing people. Definitely check out the opportunities that they have. And we really appreciate you guys coming on here. Remember, we have this podcast every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Arizona time. We want to make sure that people come in here, explain their expertise, and then you can get some value out of.
Absolutely, guys. Holler at us. I have something that's closing next week. We will see you guys next week. Again, Noah, thank you so much. Tracy, appreciate you coming on here. Munif, we love you from afar. Have a good evening.